Hello and welcome to this function overview walkthrough video for Brunelleschi, Age of Architects by Aesop Games. I'm Matt Mitchum, the lead designer, and I'm just going to walk you through the basic user interface and some of the gameplay concepts and functions for Brunelleschi. It's a free-to-play strategy web game available at brungame.com. You can make a character at any time, and if you'd like to, you can follow along with this video. If you'd like a little assistance in creating a character, there's a walkthrough on that available on our YouTube channel if you just search YouTube for Brunelleschi, you'll find our channel there and all of the available walkthrough videos that we've got. Also, if at any point in time you need information about the game and would like to have some getting started information or some basic tutorials, that's available on the info page under help before you even log in or create a character. So really, you don't even have to create an account to get access to the majority of the information about the game. So we're just going to go ahead and go in with this Lord character, Eris. Eris is a pre-existing character. She's about 48 weeks old and is level 427. She's a commander class, and since she's hit rank 7, that makes her a captain major. Eris is the sovereign of Discordia. Her title is listed right there. On logging in, since Discordia is her residence, she is shown the settlement page for that settlement, and you can see all of these districts over which she has authority. This is because she's the sovereign. These districts could also be administered by ministers. Another Lord character can have several ministerial titles if they would like, and can assist in the running of the settlement and can do things like build buildings, recruit troops. Anyway, the game is intended to be a cooperative multiplayer city builder, so there's the possibility for settlements to be run by as many as 51 Lord characters, and depending on their government type, they may even be run by thousands of players in the more egalitarian government types. Alright, you can hit the overview button on any of these districts, and that'll just provide some basic information on the district. If you want more detailed information, you can click the I. The I button here generally takes you to the game's catalog. The game's catalog provides basic information about every aspect of the game, from buildings to equipment to attributes to character classes, military units, transportation. Really everything in the game is represented in the catalog, and it's always available either any link that has that eye icon there will lead you to another catalog page, and so you can almost always find out the details about anything in the game that you would care to build. Alternately, the catalog can always be accessed from the info panel here. It's the very top of the list. And this is the broad overarching catalog, so if you really want to explore the game and see what's possible, a lot of the things that are available within the game are listed here. But looking back at the settlement of Discordia, we can see the overview of these districts, and we can also see how many military units are garrisoned there, if there are any construction projects, how many of the available building spaces are being used, as well as the district defense and any mass transportation units such as carts or boats or ships or trains which may be constructed and operational in that district. Now, using either the blue visit button alongside the overview or this big green go to district button, we can get a more focused look on what's happening in that specific district, including browsing the various buildings. We can attempt to upgrade these buildings. I think, this will let us know if there's already a construction project. We can check the buildings out, and as always, the catalog page is just a click away, providing more detailed information on the buildings themselves. Since we have authority over this district, and we're not just taking a look at it, we also have a Blueprints tab here. The Blueprints tab will allow us to see any buildings that can be constructed. We have a linked building. The linked building is most ideally constructed in this district and gets a 10% bonus to any output or production, or in this case housing, that it may provide. We also have an exclusive building. These buildings can only be constructed in this particular district, and in either case you will be able to see what is required, and if you don't happen to have the materials, but you're linked through a social media account, you can even ask on your Facebook wall for people to donate sandstone in this case, or whatever you might be missing. Or if you click the purchase button, it will quickly take you to the market and set you a filter that will exclude any offers except for the material that you need to build the building. So in this particular case, since I happen to have a lot of platinum, I can just grab a bunch of sandstone and then return to the town square, where I will suddenly be able to construct a cottage, except that it's already occupied. You can always see the happiness of a district. This can be important information, as these happiness scores provide a lot of bonuses and can be really important. Security, for example, prevents crime in the district. Faith can prevent heretical actions depending on your religion. The prosperity rating and education really have a large effect on construction and production within the district. You can see those here. You can see any population that happens to be living in the district. In this case, we've got some unemployed members of the peer and peasant classes. We've also got some information about how many are housed. Looking in more detail at the district effects here, we can see the prosperity effect being produced by building upkeep, the prosperity effect adjusting building upkeep here, and the construction cost effect being produced by the prosperity level. If you correlate these two, you can see that the prosperity is nearly at 100%, and the bonus is nearly 20%. So they're interrelated, and as the happiness ratings fluctuate, they can really have a big effect on the economy of a settlement and on your ability to construct new buildings and that sort of thing. Clicking here, we see settlement effects. These are just overarching effects that will impact every district, building, and resident in the settlement. They can increase unit training speed or harvesting. They can affect the security of the settlement or income. A lot of them are really linked to the role-playing aspect of the game. So as your sovereign character increases in level, these bonuses are just going to get better and better. One thing we can do, since all of the pop-ups in the game are movable user interface elements that will stick around if we change pages, we can really quickly just pop over to the character sheet for this sovereign. And if we open the attributes panel for this character, we can see that we have this might score, 14,169, which is suspiciously close to the 14.7 harvesting increase bonus. So you can see that these things are generally interconnected, and that advancing a character within the game can have a lot of impact on that character's ability to affect civilization, their settlement, play a role in politics. Having a higher level minister, for example, will tend to provide greater bonuses, allowing higher level characters to theoretically even request salaries. Here on the character sheet, we can see a lot of basic RPG information, including those attributes. If you're interested in the details of the attribute scores, as always, the catalog is there for you. Just click on the attribute icon, and the catalog will pop up some information about the bonuses provided by that attribute. Additionally, we can change our character biography here. This is just a short message that people will see when they check your character out. We can also take a look at our class. The catalog pages on classes attempt to be as detailed as possible so that you will have the best chance of planning out your character in the long term and really knowing what you're going to want. Over here on attributes, you can see that while your base attributes from your class are a pretty big deal, equipment also factors really heavily into the game, and that's where most of these bonuses are coming from. Bonuses can also be provided by buildings themselves, equipment, other characters, abilities and actions, and even, I believe, scenarios. Down here we have character traits. These are just some some defining things about your character that allow you to distinguish yourself. We're adding more character customization every day, and we'll eventually have a full two-dimensional character avatar system for the web client and a three-dimensional character avatar system for the Unity client. We are a small studio, but we are dedicated, so we traditionally update the game every day or two, and bug fixes and feature improvements are always ongoing. We also try to provide information to players, as it is a game that's in early beta and under constant development. We do try to provide warnings to characters. This big red warning is an indication that the feature is likely to change significantly in the future. A yellow warning indicates that there may be some lesser instabilities. And if a feature has recently become stable, we'll try to give you a nice green pop-up box here that will just let you know that the feature is now worth investing some time into and won't change in the near future. But for the moment, these character traits just allow you to choose little bonuses, and the ones that come with negatives, in general, any character trait choice that comes with negatives, we will always allow you to opt out of. So this, for example, you can always just select Officious, and that zodiac sign will prevent you from having any bonuses or negatives. Right now we're allowing characters to change these on the fly. As the game becomes more complete and these features get finished, then we will give people a nice warning in a big red box that the features are going to get locked down and that you won't be able to change your favorites as often. For example, the character's zodiac sign will be set permanently, whereas their favorite season might only be changeable once a year, their favorite phase of the moon possibly only every couple of lunar months, favorite day once a week. Just really anything that prevents a character from exploiting or taking advantage of any of the traits. We want to provide as much, character modification as humanly possible. So going back to our construction overview for Discordia, now that we can see that we've got two real entities here, we've got the character and we've got the settlement. The settlement obviously is broken up into districts, and these can be gifted to ministers. You can, if you have a good friend that you like to play these games with, or a gaming guild, you can pool your efforts, picking one person to serve as the executive, and even that can be changed around without destroying the settlement. So really the settlements are linked to characters, but they are not totally dependent on them. While a settlement would prefer to have characters in it, and a character is better off living in the settlement than in the wilderness, the two are not explicitly dependent on one another. Let's see. Looking back at our districts, we can just, we can see that we have the ability to control the garrisons for these districts. Ministers of the districts are able to control broadcast messages that can be used to provide information to visitors and coordinate construction projects and character actions. Much of the game's play does occur in the form of these character actions. They are unlocked by a variety of sources, including leveling up. There are some actions that are labeled as secret, which I won't go into how those are obtained, but they can be obtained through a variety of in-game sources and adventures. There are life actions, which are things like resign sovereignty. I could turn over this settlement to another character if I wanted to, or I can spend a little bit of my character's action points just organizing my personal storage, or even just take a rest, restoring some hit points and mana if those should be lost. Alternately, based on the districts in my settlement, I might have a variety of labor actions. There are political actions such as diplomatic or political councils that can basically be summoned. You can see that I don't have enough paper to summon my political council here. Simple things like fasting and praying. This is just a mysterious action. It has some benefits in the long term, such as philosophy bonus, and as you can see, it's kind of a loss of importance. A lot of actions, all actions provide experience, but in terms of whether they raise or lower your importance, that really does depend on the action itself. Let's see. Got some interesting things here like oversee construction, which would allow me to convert some action points into reducing construction times. Really everything in the game is interconnected, so the majority of these energy types can be exchanged for one another using various actions and buildings and scenarios and that sort of thing. Anyway, there are a variety of ways to navigate the settlement, one of which is the settlement map. The settlement map is a visual representation of the districts you've constructed. Over the next couple of months, we're also going to create maps for the individual districts. Some of this is being concurrently developed in our Unity client, where we are creating three-dimensional walkthrough models of these districts. We currently only have a couple of them. The Unity client is in a very early alpha state, and we'll have something available for players probably in about 3 to 6 months. The map can be a really effective way to navigate your settlement, because you can use it just to click around to these various districts and manage things like your troop production or your building output. Alright. The information about the game's functions are available in a variety of forms. We have the simple help menu that just gives you really linear, direct, step-by-step routes to getting things accomplished within the game. We've also got a fairly expansive wiki, which provides just a huge amount of information in detail on the various aspects of the game, and can sometimes provide a lot more numeric information. It also has information on features that haven't been fully developed yet, and you can take a look at it to see sort of where we're going with the game. Alternately, the game's leaderboards and credits are here if you're interested in seeing how other players are doing and where you rank and how you stack up against them, or how your settlement is doing. Also, we have the credits page here, just giving credit where credit is due to all of the people who attempted to help us with the original version of the game that we tried to release back in 2009. These guys were volunteers, and we are very grateful for all of the work that they added to the game. A lot of it is still found in the form of graphics, and these people were great inspiration. This is the current team. We're going to be adding our musician to that relatively soon, as we do have a little bit of custom music being created for the game's promotional videos and Unity client. Alright, so from the view screen, we can also just bring the settlement map back up if we want to, or we can check out our character sheet and our settlement page fairly rapidly if we're just looking to switch around. A lot of times we try our best to give you unfolding information where you're not overwhelmed with things, but if you click and look for more details, you're going to find the numeric details down really to the most minute. And in this case, we can see where all of our storage is coming from and that sort of thing. If you click on the timer here, it'll show you events that are occurring, and clicking on it will bring up the reports page. A lot of the game's really detailed information is provided there. You can also get to that same page through Manage Reports. The Ending Soon page is just a description of, you see some week timer here. The week timer here is about to end. We've got a couple of job openings here. An upkeep timer that's about to end. A lot of more urgent things like recruit timers. Knowing when the upkeep timer is going to end is going to be a big deal for most players because they have to pay upkeep on their buildings and their equipment. So just keeping track of the timers can be useful in planning your gameplay. We also have the commercial report here. This just gives you some detailed information on things like your market orders and income buildings. Things that you might be getting from boats or trains or any of the other transport units over time. You can click on the military report here. This just gives you more detailed information about the units that you might have in, say, your personal army or in a garrison. You can also see when the next training cycle will complete producing more units, and if any active patrols are currently being conducted around your settlement, defending you from raiders and interlopers and things like that. Here on the Industrial Report, you have kind of easy, quick links to the Department of the Interior and Department of Commerce. I'll outline that just a little bit more in a second. You can also see when your harvest and process events are going to complete and get some idea of the staff and utilization and output of these various buildings. And this can be really important for people trying to run commercial districts or entire settlements. Finally, you've got your forecasts, and this really is going to give you a lot of information, including information about bonuses, just helping you identify how much stuff your various production buildings are going to be giving you in hourly, daily, and weekly units. And also just kind of letting you know how much things will cost. We really did want to provide people a lot of the information that they would need to keep the financial side of this running, because the game has a pretty complicated economy. It's intended for multiple players to work together in order to keep settlements running, so we tried to create a lot of brain work for Lord characters. And as you can see, we have upkeep information provided here, so you know just how much you're having to pay for things. Discordia clearly has some problems. There's not enough of these essential resources, and buildings will probably deconstruct on the next cycle because they're not being kept up. As such, the military and the economy have sort of dwindled away from lack of upkeep, and this is part of the game in that untended settlements will eventually fade away. So the game shouldn't experience overmuch inflation or a proliferation of unwanted, unused, uninhabited settlements. Alright, checking the Manage report again, we can see another really, the Manage panel again, we can see another really important section of the game, which is the Government page. The Government page provides a lot of information, just in general, about your settlement, and allows you to see vacant ministries that might be available for other Lord characters to take on, and what bonuses they might provide if they worked in that ministry, as well as the district that they would be controlling through that ministerial title. You can assign multiple ministries to a single other character. So, like I say, if you have a friend that you like to play with, or a group of friends, you guys can divvy up some duties and run a large settlement together. And this is really the only web strategy game I know of that allows for that option. If you're interested in cooperative city building gameplay, Brunelleschi is really the game for you. Here we can see urban versus rural components. This just gives you an idea of what percentage of the settlement's acres have been developed. Acreage is produced by most actions, in particular things like clearing of land or harvesting of lumber, hunting. Military victories can also take acres away from the losing party and give them to the victorious settlement. Here you can see total development potential. This just shows you how close you are to quote-unquote maxing out your settlement's development capabilities. And obviously, as that number gets higher and higher, building more buildings becomes more expensive. Let's see. On the government panel, first of all, we have a government overview, which is what we've been looking at. For players who preferred the old government style, we have that page here, but probably if you're just joining the game now, you'll get used to the newer government page. We have the ability to send an invitation directly to someone here to take a ministry. Also, we can open ministries to applicants or edit our existing ministry openings. Alternately, we can use this information to expand to change our culture and change our type of government. Looks like those modals exploded there. The game is in development, so a lot of times you're going to run into rough features. Right here we have the bug report form, which you can use to just give us information about anything that's not going as it should, or anything that doesn't look right or that's glitchy. We do have a weekly drawing for bug bug submissions and playtesters, and the reward for that is a certain amount of in-game currency, which people can use to get ahead a little bit or buy some resources or advance their character. Alright, looking at the Department of Defense, we can see that this page can be used to manage garrisons. Also, we can check our active patrols here as well. And we can just look at defensive buildings that might be providing defensive bonuses to the settlement. That looks to be a work in progress. Each of the ministers associated with the districts will show up here. Since these districts are empty, we just kind of have the woodcuts. On the Department of the Interior here, we can adjust issues relating to the settlement's population. We can just see in some quick pop-ups who's working where, how many are employed and in what buildings. This can be essential information for settlement expansion. Also, this is where we can adjust the taxation. Taxation is clearly a huge part of the game, and we've tried to outline how each different type of taxation works so that you'll be able to manage your settlement efficiently, whether you're a minister of finance or an overall sovereign. And the happiness ratings for the settlement are pretty essential to the overall interior management, so we also put a link to those here just in case you want to look over the fine details. If you happen to be a minister of the interior, then that might be useful information to you. Here we have the Department of Commerce, and you can see in the Department of Commerce that we have Health Inspector Lucia that's currently overseeing the stockyards. Clicking on Lucia's name here will give us a direct link to her character sheet, where we can see any information about her, and if we want to, we can just send her a direct message. Alternately, we can initiate a direct trade with her here, which will allow us to just send some specific items over. Alright, so going back to the government page real quick, we can see that there are also departments of religion, commerce, interior, education, and defense, and each of these relates to specific districts and ministries, and eventually, as the game's political engine is advanced, a lot more mechanisms for things like party control and that sort of this building of coalitions and that sort of political gameplay will be added. You can also overview any of the ministers in your government here, and as the sovereign of an autocratic government, I have the ability to easily fire or release or promote or add duties to this character. Each of these has their own benefits and penalties. If I fire this minister, they'll be exiled from the settlement and their property confiscated. However, I will lose a considerable amount of importance based on their rank for doing so. Alternately, if I were to release them from their duties, it would be a mild hit to both characters' importance, but not really noteworthy. I can also promote this character, which is a way to shift them to a new ministry, and in fact they gain importance from this, which would be nice, as the fealty mechanics of the game cause ministerial importance to pass up to the sovereign. And then finally, I can do another form of promotion here, which is adding duties to the ministry, which would put them in control of another district. And I can add a little note letting them know why they've become the Minister of Agriculture as well as the Health Inspector. Seems like a perfectly reasonable overlap to me. And as you can see, now on the Department of the Interior, it's linked to this character, Lucia, and we have the ability to perform all of these same actions, as well as them retaining their position as the Health Inspector. So you could theoretically have one character showing up a lot on this page. Since we understand that not everyone can easily trust random strangers they play games with on the internet, and that there are a lot of time and energy investments in this game, you can also adjust the trust level for the minister here. You can adjust them to standard, trusted, restricted. A trusted minister has much more control over the government and can promote other ministers and adjust taxation and that sort of thing. A restricted minister is not allowed to access district storage and is in general also unable to deconstruct buildings. These are two of the most dangerous things, really, about giving control of a district to a minister. And so, just in general, we allow people some amount of permission. As the game advances, ministerial permissions will be expanded, and eventually things like whether a minister is allowed to trade on the open market will be individually determinable. This will allow sovereigns of autocratic or elitist governments to exercise a certain amount of control over their settlements, and that could reduce some of the nervousness involved in sharing control with other players. Alright, that's a pretty good overview of the government page. Now we're going to just check out real quick the relationships page. Relationships really can occur between any two settlements or any two characters. They can be diplomatic relationships between settlements or personal relationships between characters. Here we have the pledges who are pledged to Eris. Alternately, some players prefer the older style page. And this is just where we can determine who we're friends with, who we're enemies with, who we can start duels with, and that sort of thing. The possible intercharacter bonds in the game are enmity, friendship, fealty, love, handfasting, and marriage. Handfasting and marriage are enabled by the caster and clergy classes respectively, and there's really a lot of gameplay nuance to those states. We've tried to create some interesting new content for people who want to have deep interpersonal relationships in their role-playing games. Alright, and let's just check on the storage page. The storage page is obviously where a lot of player time is going to be spent. This game does really come down to resources and materials in a lot of cases, and the economy is a big factor of the game, even for hero characters. So this is where you can take a look at everything that you've got, and if you need to, you can refine it down, take a look only at resources or goods or equipment. The game has an incredibly rich palette of equipment, including types of equipment that I have not personally ever seen in a role-playing game before. Various contracts and symbols and charters, and types of magic spells. Every character in the game can use magic to some extent, but commander characters are the most limited in that, and have the most access to weapons. Caster characters, conversely, have the most access to spells and the least access to weapons. Each of these items increases at least one attribute. They can decrease some attributes, like in the case of clubs, for example, they decrease celerity. But they all have a variety of effects and a variety of benefits. Even the misleading astrologer has its uses. You have a variety of companions that can be added to your retinue, and depending on your character's class, they will be able to use some, but never all of this equipment. We have a variety of options for how you can give things to people, for example, your pledges or your neighbors, people with which you have diplomatic relationships. You can send things at no penalty. Strangers or people that you don't have diplomatic relationships with, you have to use the direct trading action, which does use up a little bit of your character's action points, and can result in some lost materials. Just a certain percentage are lost in the direct trade. Alternately, you can use this page to set up sales offers. We've tried to provide really as many ways for moving goods around as players could want. In the Unity client, we're also looking into some other equipment and inventory management systems for the 2D client. You also have a variety of sorting options here, which can really be essential as your storage starts to fill up. And for people running settlements, you might opt to put some of your storage capacity as public, which makes it publicly available to ministers and will allow them to just pool resources and conduct sort of their own commerce without having to deal with the markets. And then we have the gear page here. Oops, gear page doesn't seem to be working. Generally, this is where you would equip items on your character. And we've got a very large and fairly expansive market. The game market... Oops, I got my filters on. The game market allows for the transmission of really any item between characters, any item, any amount of goods. The world market mostly uses the game's 4 types of currency, the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum currencies that are available within the game. And it really just allows you to trade anything. You can sell troops, you can even sell buildings or plots within your settlement, allowing for private ownership of part of the economy. And this really allows you to determine whether you want to have mostly a state-run economy or release some plots to players. As the political engine of the game is advanced, then the government type that your settlement has selected will eventually determine whether or not you are able to sell real estate, whether or not you're able to sell military units. All of those sorts of things will become interconnected to the government system that you're using. And last, but certainly not least, we have the Preferences panel. The Preferences panel can be used as an additional place to change your character bio. It can also be used to adjust your settlement bio. You can send invitations here, or change various things like your philosophy, your dual setting, display style. We have 6 themes in the game, and these themes can be used just to customize your experience. I'm currently using the steampunk theme. It looks a lot like the dark theme. Let's go ahead and use the nature theme. And currently, I believe in order to get that to show up, I need to log in and back out. Or out and back in, rather. And you can see that the theme of the game has changed entirely. We're going to try to offer as many themes for the web client as possible. It's basically one of our goals is to just try to provide this game to anyone who wants to play it in any manner that they can enjoy. So we will provide as many color schemes as possible and eventually allow characters and allow players to select their favorite colors and use them to some extent in the user interface. The game is always evolving, and you can find out more information at the developer blog and the designer blog, both of which are available, I believe, under the help files. In general, if you want to just get any information about how to advance your settlement, including a step-by-step walkthrough on how to get to rank 3, we've just got some WikiHows here, and we'll be adding more and more gameplay walkthrough videos as time allows. So please come visit us at brunegame.com and watch as this game evolves and grows. Help us by making suggestions. Visit us in our forums. The forums are connected directly to your character. You can also access the game chat through the live chat button here. The game chat will allow you just to speak directly to us. And there are usually a couple of players in there a couple of times a day. We have a small community right now. The game is, as I say, in early development, so suggestions made and opinions offered at this point in the game are more likely to be incorporated in the final product. Alright, well, thank you very much for sticking around. Just real quick, I'm going to show you this page now that it's actually working properly. This is where you can select your government settings. We have a huge variety of government options. I believe there are 36 if you count all of the different economic options and cultural and societal options. Not cultural, actually. If you throw cultural in there, it's a lot more. But you can select a region for your settlement. Eventually, these will be set in stone. Although we are thinking about a magical ritual that will allow people to transport their settlements from one region to another. In general, this is going to be a more permanent choice. Whereas culture, religion, and economic, societal, and governmental styles will all be able to change based on player requirements. Can see we have autocratic government styles, and it tells you right here when you're selecting it that it's where it's coming from. Different sovereigns have different options in terms of their class, providing different government styles. You can see that commander lords who are more militaristic, more of a fighter type class, have the stratocracy and the dictatorship. The egalitarian, elitist, and autocratic aspects of the government determine. Basically, autocratic means that the power is invested in the sovereign. Elitist means that the power is invested in the sovereign and the ministers. Egalitarian means that power is invested in the sovereign, the ministers, and the heroes of the settlement. And populist actually includes the NPC population in the government of the settlement, which can be extremely chaotic. A lot of these features are not currently implemented. Many of these choices are mostly cosmetic at the moment, but they are all planned out, and many of them are outlined in the wiki. If you are interested in the game and looking to see where we're going, the wiki has a roadmap which outlines pretty clearly what we intend for each of the progressive beta versions of the game. And it just shows where we're going. Also, we've got some information about the Unity client here. Development is constant and ongoing. You can usually select, I believe you just click right there, and it brings up the current changelog, which will show you everything we've been working on. And, we are a dedicated independent game company. This is a bootstrapped project. ESOP Games currently consists of only 2 full-time and 1 part-time workers. We are volunteers, and this is a startup company that is entirely bootstrapped. The game currently has made enough money to support itself during the entire beta process, while we encourage donations through the game's premium feature. The game is anything but pay to win. It's actually not that advantageous to spend money, and there are definitely some law of diminishing return mechanics. But if you were interested in supporting our game and just in general supporting what we're doing, that is always available. We currently only offer PayPal payments, but we do hope to expand that in the near future. And thanks again for listening. I know this has been a long video, but it is a very large and expansive game, and I assure you I did not manage to cover even 10% of the available gameplay options. So, if this is interesting to you, please come check it out at brunegame.com. Make a free account, log into the forums, let us know what you think, and stay tuned to the Brunelleschi YouTube channel in order to see more gameplay videos and more concept videos. Next up, I will be demonstrating how to create a new settlement, and then we'll be doing some walkthrough videos of the upcoming Brunelleschi Unity 3D client. Thanks again for watching.